Hi babes, Bill here. A favourite in the British press is to cover the wedding day bust-up. You know the sort of thing. It's a long, stressful day, there's huge expectations on it to be perfect, and people who normally wouldn't be in the same shire together end up having to be polite to each other all day long. You had a few drinks at the reception, a fair few of these things end up going seriously Pete-tong. In the case of young Amy Ward, she got so upset that she glassed a guy. The link's in the low bar. Now if you're not familiar with the United Kingdom, we've got this charming habit of sticking glass tumblers in each other's eyes. Now fortunately, humans have got prominent brows and noses, not to mention pretty decent reactions, so very few people are actually blinded by this kind of malarkey. But it leaves you scarred for life, mentally and physically. Even when, if, you get over the trauma, your grid still looks like a patchwork quilt, which has got a rather negative effect on your interaction with strangers in the future. Do you know we've even designed a special pint pot that can't be used as an impromptu face mangler? There's a second link to that down in the low bar as well, which follows another British tradition. That's the one of whining when somebody actually does something to prevent serious injuries happening to a young man. In spite of the article, it's not a bad idea. It's got the added bonus that not only will it cut down on the 5,000 or so life-changing disfigurements suffered in our bars and our public houses, it will save a fortune in hospital costs. So it actually saves the country a bit of money. It's a bit of a result all round. It wouldn't have saved Ms Ward's victim, sadly. There's very few brides quaff ale from a pint tumbler. But most attackers tend to be young males, so the laminated glass should have a decent effect in the coming months and years. So why bring the young bride into this? Well, I've got two reasons, really. The first one is the tone of the report that I've linked to. The press report in the Mail is actually quite reasonable. It sticks to the facts, it doesn't sensationalise events. It's all very measured. It's quite a good report, kind of thing I'd like to see more of, to be honest. But I'd be very interested to see what the reporter's take on it would have been if it was the bride that was glassed. If you read the link, notice how trivial the man's experience is. Cuts to the face, from a broken glass being shoved straight at his fucking eyes. People, I occasionally cut myself shaving. It bleeds a little. It stings like bilio when I splash on some brew. That's a cut to the face. A broken glass to your face doesn't cut, it wounds. And those wounds are going to be with you for the rest of your life. The victim's chosen not to press charges, so Ms Ward will only be charged with a fray. She's scarred a fellow human being for life. But the most she can get is an absolute maximum of 3 years if she's indicted, or just 6 months if she's summarily tried. But the chances of her even going to prison are pretty remote. You can imagine the lawyers standing up there in front of the judge. "Oh, Your Honour, poor girl's big day was ruined, and look how sorry she is." Aye, right. The second reason is a fascinating coincidence. You see, the number of individuals reported to have been glassed in the United Kingdom each year closely resembles the number of female rapes that are reported in the UK each year. They both run at approximately 80 to 90,000 annually. Think about that for a moment. Rape culture, misogyny, and all the other hysteria surrounding it, even if it exists at all, results in a similar risk to that of permanent disfigurement, even blindness, to our young men. I'm not saying there's an equivalence in the crime, that would be silly, but there's a very real equivalence in the risk. Now, being glassed is a terrible experience, and one would be far too many, but it's rare. I'm betting that many of you in North America hadn't even heard of the phenomenon until I mentioned it. It certainly wouldn't top your list of fears if you're thinking about visiting the United Kingdom, and nor should it. It's a thing to be aware of, not a thing to dominate your thinking, and certainly not a thing to make you live in fear. Yet the very rare possibility of another crime, rape, is used as justification for everything from single-sex train carriages in Japan to the removal of due process for male students accused in the United States. It's the ultimate shaming tactic. You enable rape. It's a silver bullet that shoots down any attempt at a reasoned debate about gender issues. You're all misogynists. You're all potential rapists. I mean, could we even function if we applied the same paranoia to other violent crimes? Now, it's probably a bit much to ask feminists to accept a sense of proportion in this issue. It'd be a bit like trying to take her favourite bone off of your bulldog. But for women that aren't swayed by this nonsense, just ask yourself, how much sleep do you lose worrying about whether your brother, your partner or your son is going to take a bottle to the face this weekend? Laters, guys.